A new study has now confirmed something that we've known for some time now. The entire Tea Party movement has been the product of the Koch brothers and Big Tobacco. The new study shows that not only are they responsible for its creation, but the whole concept has been in the works for about 10 years. Those who put together the Tea Party and frequently run it are the same people who've done anti-science work to try to deny that climate change exists, to prevent accountability in the fossil fuels industry, and also the same people who did a lot of pro-tobacco lobbying, like trying to deny the links between cancer and secondhand smoke. The study, funded by the National Cancer Institute of the National Institute of Health, traces the roots of the Tea Party's anti-tax movement back to the early 1980s, when tobacco companies began to invest in third-party groups to fight the excise tax on cigarettes, as well as health studies finding a link between cancer and secondhand cigarette smoke. Published in the peer-reviewed academic journal Tobacco Control, the study titled "To Quarterback Behind-the-Scenes Third-Party Efforts, the Tobacco Industry and the Tea Party is not just a historical account of activities in a bygone era." As senior author Stanton Glantz, a University of California, San Francisco, UCSF professor of medicine, writes, "Nonprofit organizations associated with the Tea Party have long-standing ties to tobacco companies and continue to advocate on behalf of the tobacco industry's anti-tax, anti-regulation agenda." The two primary organizations that were identified was Freedom Works and Americans for Prosperity. These two groups have been on a major drive in support of Big Tobacco. What they've done is they've opposed taxes on cigarettes and opposed many anti-smoking laws in the name of freedom, because if I don't have the freedom to shove cancerous carcinogens into another person's body, what freedom do I have? Freedom Works and Americans for Prosperity were once a single organization called Citizens for a Sound Economy, or CSE. CSE was founded in 1984 by the infamous Koch brothers David and Charles Koch, and received over $5.3 million from tobacco companies, mainly Philip Morris, between 1991 and 2004. Now, back in 1990, Tim Hyde, the head of RJR operations, ran groups like this, and their description was eerily similar to that of the Tea Party. Now, this definitely shows us quite a lot of the history there, that far from being a grassroots organization that they've always claimed to be, they have in fact been an entire tool of the capitalist class itself, and then a lot of their anti-corporation rhetoric has actually been coming from corporations themselves. Coalition building should proceed along two tracks: A grassroots organizational and largely local track; B, a national intellectual track within the DC-New York corridor. Ultimately, we are talking about a movement, a national effort to change the way people think about government and big businesses' role in our lives. Any such effort requires an intellectual foundation, a set of theoretical and ideological arguments on its behalf. Now, far removed from reality, the Tea Party would have us believe that their roots lie in a grassroots organization that began as a part of an anti-tax movement back in 2009. However, the quarterback study reveals that in 2002, the Koch and tobacco-backed CSE designed and made public the first Tea Party movement website under the web address www.usteaparty.com. Here's a screenshot of the archived US Tea Party site as it appeared online September 13th, 2002. Now, Freedom Works and Americans for Prosperity are multi-issue groups. Now, what these groups do is they fight on behalf of freedom, or largely free market principles. And by defending free market principles, they mean fighting regulations on, the air, fossil fuels, and basically environmental protectionism to not kill the place where we all live. And also, one of their big issues is stopping any kind of healthcare reform, because if you don't have the freedom to choose your own doctor, which you can't afford, then you apparently have no freedom whatsoever. This study reveals something that we've known for a very long time. Many people, not just myself, many people have suspected that the entire Tea Party movement was something that was artificially created by the Koch brothers, by other big businesses, in order to carry out their interests. And now this has finally been made clear that this is something that they've been doing. And at this point, it's now no longer deniable. These Tea Party people who largely complain about having to pay taxes, which their main complaint is having to contribute to society, and complaining that the government is interfering in their lives by making sure that people have health care and can live, is entirely something that was artificially created by those same corporations that they say aren't real capitalism or have too much power in politics. They are now, it's clear that they are tools of those very same people. And it also speaks very much to something that we as Marxists have known for a long time, and that is capital and labor stand in diametrically opposed in a contradiction. Capital's interests always run counter to that of people. It's either profits or people. It's not both. And capital, in this case, the capitalists, are well aware that their interests run entirely counter to the people. This is why they create organizations like the Tea Party. They make it look like this is the people's own ideas. Thus, if you disagree with the Tea Party, you're disagreeing with the people, and you're on the side of big business, big government, and the black and the white, I mean Barack Obama in the White House. And this, by the fact that they have to hide it, the fact that they have to make it look like a grassroots movement, shows how phony it really is. This also tells us something very important about right-wing culture in general, that despite its daily affirmations of supporting freedom and being against the evil, big leftist government, which is something you could never call the U.S. government in any way, shape, or form, that their whole idea of being about freedom is completely false. Their ideas have been fraudulent from the beginning, and they've never really supported freedom. They have been nothing but tools for a class of people that they claim that they're against, or counter to their interests, or somehow truly represent freedom. I think this shows the inherently fraudulent nature of right-wing ideology. This isn't just conservatism, but anarcho-capitalism, libertarianism in general. Their ideas just run so well with the same class of people that are attempting to oppress them. Those same people that have the complete control and influence of the U.S. government. And hopefully this can give at least some people a final word to show them that right-wing ideology is inherently anti-human and nothing more than a tool of a ruling class that they themselves claim to be against. The right wing, as we've always known, is entirely a fraud. Their ideology is a fraud. And this is further proof of that exact point.